teach you today how to multiply decimals. A lot of people often get scared of this topic sometimes, but it's actually a lot easier than you think it might be. So let's do it. Make sure you have something to write with, and you can always pause the video, of course. Okay, so we're gonna multiply decimals, and I'm gonna show you throughout this video some exciting things you can do with this new knowledge. I brought some little props, okay? So here's a little cup that somebody might get, and right now it's holiday time, and some of us are going to be putting on some things on our Christmas wish list, and if it's not for you at this time, this is something exciting you can learn to do and convince your parents perhaps of certain discounts you might want. I also have a little iPad, and we're going to use these two items later to try to estimate some discounts, okay? So we're gonna talk about buying some stuff, but first I'm gonna show you how to multiply decimals. It's really not that hard, okay? So it's just like, I'm gonna put some little rules here, and then we're gonna do a bunch of examples, okay? So when we multiply decimals, we do it, and I'm gonna leave this here, just, let me write multiply just like. Multiply like whole numbers. So what I mean by that is you're going to multiply decimals. You're going to treat them like whole numbers. All we're going to do is do something with the decimals. It's really easy. You're going to feel great when you know how to do this on your own. So you multiply it just like whole numbers, and the second thing is you don't have to line up decimal points. What? Isn't that wild? That, if I could draw one of those surprised emojis, I would right now, but I'm not really sure how. Yeah. That is not a mistake. You don't have to line up decimal points. It sounds so crazy, right? Because for so long, math teachers are constantly telling you, line it up, line it up, line it up. And when you add and subtract when you add and subtract decimals, don't you have to line them up? Yes. Like if you're adding, typically, let me get a better marker. I keep grabbing the ones that are not good. And this happens to me in class all the time, right? So if you're adding decimals like 3.85 and 1.2, you have to make sure these are lined up. That's what we mean by lined up. That's when you're adding and subtracting. That is so important. But today, that is not going to be true. And I know you might be wondering or thinking that, what? And is she wrong? Does she know what she's talking about? Yes, I do. You do not have to line them up, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to teach you what to do. So let's just take a random example. Let's say we have 1 and 25 hundredths. So this is a decimal, right? Here's my whole number, and this is the decimal portion. And I'm going to multiply this by 3. I'm going to start really easy, okay? So you're going to multiply this just like you would whole numbers, but you're going to do something first. It's kind of interesting. You're going to count the total decimal place values. Count total decimal place values, like how many total, okay? So let me slow down. You're going to count the total. So you're multiplying 1.25 times 3, okay? So there's a decimal place value here and here. This, on this left side of the decimal, is a whole number. So we're not counting that. We're only counting the place values that are on the right side of the decimal. So I have 1 here and 1 here. So you're gonna write a little 2 and put a circle. You're gonna bookmark it and say, I have 2 decimal place values. This number is a whole number, and there's no decimals after the 3, so I don't have to worry about that, okay? So I'm gonna erase this except for the 2. Notice I put a little 2 right here. It's like a little bookmark that I'm saving for later. I'll show you. after I finish. So now that I know how many place values there are, I could even, typically so it was there. You can put a little X and just literally pretend it's not there. Like you're just gonna forget about that number, okay? About this decimal, because you have it bookmarked over here. So now, as I mentioned, multiply like whole numbers. And I don't have to line up the decimal. So let's just regular multiply. 3 times 5, 15. So we're gonna carry the 1 and the 5 because it's 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus this one makes it a 7. And then 3 times 1 is a 3. And now notice, I'm gonna take this 2, that's 2 decimal points, and I call them swings. And I must start at the end of my number, because this is a whole number. Remember, I'm treating this like whole numbers. I'm gonna swing it over 2 spots, and that's where it lands. I need to go back and put it right here. So my answer would be 3.75, okay? Because I had 2 decimal place values, which means that my answer has to have 2 decimal place values. And you always start at the end of the number because it's a whole number. As with everything, you've got to continue to just practice it, okay? So if you need to pause and rework that one, that's fine. Let's do another. This time I'll use more place values. This time, let's say 4.52 times 0.2. What? Look at this. See what I mean? You do not have to line up these decimal place values. Look, there's one here and there's one there. They are not lined up because I don't have to line them up. You don't have to line up decimal points. You do not. Okay? I am going to count them. Count them. Count the total decimal place, same thing I had before, values. The total. So count with me for the whole thing. I have 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Did you see that? There's 3 decimal place values in this one, not just 2. We'll look again. There's 2 here, so 1, 2, and there's also a decimal place value here. I'm multiplying both the numbers. So I'm gonna bookmark what? A 3 this time. There's 3 decimal place values total. And now I'm gonna pretend that there are no, I'm just gonna treat it like a whole number. If you have your decimal, you can X them out. I usually just X them out and I just ignore them because I have them bookmarked right here. So we're gonna regular multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. If I were to do all the work, drop that 0, now I have a 0. I know they're gonna all be zeros, but let's do them anyway. So we're done with that one. Now I'm on to the tens place, which starts here. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. So I knew I was going to be adding nothing, but I wanted to show you guys that step. So if I add all these zeros, my answer is 904. We can go ahead and put the 0 here. But pause, my answer is not 904 wholes. I bookmarked the amount of times that I'm going to swing the decimal back. I also like to call it swings because it kind of feels like you swing it back. So notice I'm going to swing the decimal 3 times into my answer. So starting at the end, because this, remember, we're pretending it's a whole number. So if this was a whole number, I'm going to swing it. And one swing means in where it belongs, right? So you would start here and the decimal would go in between numbers. So a swing is counted as a place in between decimal numbers, in between numbers, I'm sorry. So this would be one swing because technically a decimal would belong there, but that's not enough. 1, 2, 3. I need 3 total. So my decimal point needs to go right there. So my answer would be 0.904. Let's put a box around it. So notice, I treated it like a whole number, and at the end, I simply took the amount of decimal place values and I moved it right back. So the answer is 0.904. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. So say we had say we had 8.95 times 1.2. And I like to go really slow with these types of questions because you really need to be careful all of your steps, right? Let's look at this together. So take a look at that one just for a moment and think to yourself, what would be the total decimal place values? Okay, so I need the total amount. So I have 1, 2 in the first number, and how many here? Another 1. So once again, I have a total of 3 swings. Let's call them swings. I've always called them swings, and it kind of helps me understand, like, you just swing it back, count your swings, swing it back. Okay? So if you've already said it, you're right. What do I now do? Now that I've bookmarked my 3 swings, and I know I'm gonna swing my decimal over 3 times in my answer, but now that I've done that, what can I do with these? And if you said ignore them, you're correct. Yes, ignore them and treat this like multiply like whole numbers. So I'm gonna pretend there's no more decimals at this time. So starting with the ones place, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19, carry the 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Whew! So I'm going to cross these out because I'm done using those, and I'm done using the ones place, so I'm going to go ahead and just represent it here because now my answer needs to start in the tens place. We're using the tens place to multiply. So your answer must start in the tens place. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 8 is 8. So now that I have the 2 numbers, simply going to add them. Now you gotta make sure these are lined up. We haven't done anything with the swings yet. 0 plus 0, 0. 9 plus 5, 14. So we're gonna put the 4 here, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 9 is 17. So I'm gonna put the 7, carry the 1, don't forget the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 8 is 10. So I'm gonna write the 10 down here. So it looks like my answer is extremely large, but I haven't done my final step of swinging my decimal back. And how many? 3 swings. So starting as if I'm treating this as a whole number, I'm gonna start over here and I'm gonna swing it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And right there, I always make it really big so I know exactly where it goes. 10.74. Now you can add the 0 if you want to, or you don't have to. You really don't need it because it doesn't change the value, but if you want to put it, that would be correct, or this would be correct. Either which way would give you the same value. So 8.95 times 1.2 equals 10.74. So now that we've developed this really cool new easy skill that you basically already had, all it is multiplying whole numbers with a couple swings. Now we can see how this can really help us. And that's where I have a couple of my items. So if I wanted to buy a cup for myself or for you or someone and an iPad, and sometimes you'll notice that if you open a catalog or you see something on TV that's on sale, and sometimes they say things like 20% off or 50% off. And what does that even mean, right? And hopefully some of you know, but if you don't, it's actually a decimal. A percent means per century, which means 100. Let me tell you what I mean by that. This is a really cool thing to learn. So let's practice figuring out when something is on sale, how I can use multiplying decimal skills to help me figure out the new price, okay? So now we're gonna be calculating discounts. Okay, and a discount is when something is on sale. So you have something you wanna buy and it's on sale, meaning they're gonna sell it to you for cheaper because there's a special going on. So that's called a discount. So taking money and selling it to you for cheaper. So for example, if something is 20% off, you might have seen something like this, 20% off. And this percent sign actually means per cent, right? Per cent, like an actual cent. So percent, so 20 out of 100, because a century is 100. So that means that 20 out of 100 pennies. So if your cost was $1, you'd get 20 cents off, okay? So that's how you figure it out. But notice, okay, so if that was a little fuzzy for you, that's okay. But in 5th grade, we did learn a really cool skill. We learned that you could use your words to determine a fraction. You could turn a fraction into a decimal just by using your words. Fraction to a decimal, so 20 hundredths. Remember, we know our place value, so we could say that 20%, 20 out of 100, is the same thing as 0.2. Now look at that really closely. This, coupled with the fact that you know now how to multiply decimals, you can calculate anything. So let's see if we could figure out what a new price would be of something you would want to buy that's 20% off. So we're going to do 20%. So if something is 20% off, we're going to get the discount, but keep in mind, the amount we're going to calculate is just how much money off of the price. So let's say we want to buy this cup, okay? Let's pretend it's $12. So remember, 20% off was 0.20, right? That's our decimal, 20 out of 100%. And this will make more sense to you as you get older as well. So let's say it was $12.50 for my water cup, but it's on sale for 20% off. So times 0.20, right? So I'm multiplying the cost of my cup times the discount rate. So it's going to be 20% off. Now what I get will not be my new price. It's how much money to take off. This is the cost of my cup. Okay, so I'm going to use a different color so we can see how many decimal place values we need to save. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a 4 and circle it. We've already learned that we bookmark the amount of places I'm going to swing. And now I will ignore these decimals and I will treat this like a regular whole number. So do it with me, okay? So this 0 I can just drop because it wouldn't give me any values. Let me actually do this in blue. So the 0 we don't need. Let's start with the 2. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 5, 10, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Notice how slow I'm going. 2 times 1 is 2. Great. So now I've used both of these, so I'm going to bookmark both. But notice I now have a 0, so it's going to give me nothing, but let's go ahead and do it. 0 times 0, 0. 0 times 5, 0. 0 times 2, 0. 0 times 1, 0. So it added nothing. Okay, we can put it there if we want to. So let me take that off because we really don't need it. So this looks like, to the naked eye, meaning we haven't done anything with it, just at first glance, that this looks like $25,000. So I'm gonna get $25,000 off of something that costs $12.50. Obviously that doesn't make sense because I forgot to swing my decimal 4 times. And I know to swing it 4 times because I wrote down my place values. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my decimal goes there, and I can rewrite this as 2.5. But since we're talking about money, I can use 1 0. I just really need 1. None of those really do anything, okay? So be careful. I got $2.50. This is not the cost, the new cost. This is how much money off of the original price I'm gonna get. So if my cup from the store, original cost, it was $12.50, but my discount, meaning I got 20% off, that's money back. I have to take away $2.50 because I don't have to pay that. That's my discount. Notice I have to line up my decimals now because I'm subtracting. And if you subtract these, you will get 10. So my new price, of my cup, I'm actually gonna get it for $10, not $12.50. And that's how you calculate a discount with multiplication of decimals. All right, let's try an iPad because I know all of you guys always want to talk about this. Okay, so this is still calculating discounts. So let's say that they're having a really crazy special sale on iPads, and for some reason they decided to sell you one for like a really crazy price, okay? iPad sale. We're just pretending. We're gonna say that there was a sign that said that they were 35% off. Whoo, that's a lot, right? You know that's good because that means you're gonna get a big discount. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, and we're gonna make up a price of an iPad, okay? So let's say that the iPad was $625. That's a lot of money. But we're just pretending. They're having a big sale. So we're gonna see what the new price is because $625 is a lot. But maybe with the discount, it won't be so bad. So if we have $625 and we're gonna take 35% off, and we know 35% is 35/100ths, which is also equal to 0.35. You gotta remember that. That was from a previous lesson. So I'm gonna take off my dollar sign so that it doesn't confuse us, but we are using 625, okay? And 0.35. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there like that with the decimals, but you could also just do 625. That would actually be easier. So why don't you rewrite that? It's a whole number, easier, okay? So we're gonna multiply that, 625. So that's the original cost of the iPad. We wanna know how much money is coming off of that price. So let's try. But before we do that, with our new skill, we're gonna count the total place values. And there are only 2 because this is a whole number. There's no decimals there. This is all a whole number. So don't count those. You only count the decimals that come behind the decimal. So 2, okay? And now we're gonna ignore this one. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 5 times 6 is 30, plus the 1 is 31. I'm gonna cross these out because I'm done using them. I'm treating this like a whole number. Cross this out, drop a 0. 3 times 5, 15, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus this one is 7. 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, I now finish this one, so I can drop both zeros, and once again I have a 0, but you can go ahead and do it. 0 times 5 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0, 0 times 6 is 0. You don't have to do this last part, I just like to put it there as an example. 5 plus nothing, 5. 2 plus 5 is 7, 7 plus 0 is 7. 1 plus 7 is 8 plus nothing. 3 plus 8 is 11, carry the 1, and this would be 2. So here's my big giant number, but I haven't changed it yet. I need to swing my decimal. That's right, 2 times. 1, 2. So my decimal actually belongs there. Ooh, look at that number. So $218.75 off of the price, okay? Here, let me write that here so you can see it. $218.75 off. That is not how much the new iPad costs. That's how much money's coming off of the price, okay? That's the sale. Okay, let me make sure you can see that. Scoot that over a little bit. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that's how much is coming off. So to wrap this up, you can do this with anything. So let's go back to our price of our iPad. If the iPad costs $625, but they are having this extra crazy wonderful sale where you got 35% off, and we just calculated how much money off that would be, and we got $218.75. That's how much money is coming off of the original price. So now let's see what the new price would be. I'm gonna put a little smiley face because it's gonna feel a lot better than the original price. All right, 0 minus 5, can't do that, so I'm gonna regroup like that. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7, 2. Okay, remember, we do have to line up our decimals because we are subtracting. 4 minus 8, can't do that. I'm gonna have to regroup again. 14 minus 8 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So your new price of the iPad with the super awesome discount would be $406.25. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I could convince someone to get that for me if we had that great of a sale. Maybe if you saved up and budgeted your money, did some amazing projects and chores and really cool things around the house to help, not just regular chores, because you know those shouldn't give you money, but things above and beyond that could help you save over time, you could save up for something like that. So keep watching those sales. Now you know what to do with these anytime there's a % off sale. So you could really use your knowledge of multiplying decimals really to your advantage. So review this lesson as you'd like, stop, pause, rewind, however you want to do it. And I'm so glad that you could learn this awesome new skill that you'll have for the rest of your life. I will see you guys next time and have an awesome day.